Hey, this is your host. And today's question is, can I explain the case of she vanished after whispering, "It's watching me"? No one could explain what happened. First, let's look at the facts in this case. On May 2011, 37-year-old Maria McCallum left her home in Port Orchard, Washington to visit a friend, but she never arrived at her friend's house. Maria was last seen getting into an older model silver or gray four-door car with tinted windows. The driver of that car has never been identified. The passenger in the car has also never been identified. On May 4th, 2011, 5 days after Maria disappeared, her 2006 Honda Odyssey was found abandoned near the Fred Meyer store in Bremerton, Washington. Her cell phone was not with the vehicle. Her purse was not with the vehicle. It should be noted that the purse contained her ID, credit cards, and about $800 in cash. That means that it was not a random kidnapping, given that they did untake anything from her, or at least they did untake very much. In the 2 weeks following her disappearance, there were several credible sightings of Maria in Las Vegas, Nevada. She was reportedly spotted with a heavily tattooed man who may have been in his 30s. Unfortunately, these sightings would be the closest leads that detectives would have in this case for nearly a decade. Now let's talk about the strange details in this case. You see, before disappearing, Maria had sent several cryptic text messages to friends and family members. In one text message, she said, "It knows where I am. I feel it watching me." In another text message, she said, "I am being watched. Someone is behind me." Those text messages are quite concerning. But what's even more concerning is that she was sending those text messages on April, not May, when she disappeared. This could mean that Maria was being stalked for over a week before she disappeared. It could also mean that Maria was just having some kind of psychotic break, and the text messages were actually in reference to someone stalking her. Another weird detail is that one witness reported seeing Maria's car parked in a suspicious location. According to that witness, they saw the car parked at a boat launch on the Sinclair Inlet with its doors open and no one inside. The witness reportedly told the police that they thought it was strange that the car doors were open, and no one was inside because the car was parked in a remote area of the parking lot. Let's move on to the timeline. On April, Maria sent the cryptic text messages we already talked about. Then on April, her sister received a text message from an unknown number claiming to be from Maria. The message read, "Help, call my sister. It's an emergency." The sister called the number back, but the person on the other end hung up when she answered. The sister then texted back saying, "What happened?" But the person on the other end never responded. On April, Maria's son told her mother that he had unheard from his mother in a while, and that he had not seen her since Easter. He also said that he was concerned because she had missed several doctor appointments. On April, Maria's mother went to the home that Maria shared with her boyfriend and found that the front door was wide open. It should be noted that Maria's boyfriend was out of town at the time, and he had been out of town for several days. Inside the house, her mother found a note on the kitchen table that simply said, "Gone to get help." Her mother also noticed that the garage door opener was missing from the wall and the garage door was wide open. When she looked in the garage, she realized that Maria's car was missing. Maria's mother then contacted the police and reported her missing. The case immediately seemed quite suspicious given that Maria just vanished without a trace. There was no sign of a struggle inside the house, and her front door was wide open. They even checked the surrounding neighborhoods to see if maybe she had gotten confused and wandered off. Or maybe she had been kidnapped by someone she knew and taken to a nearby residence, but they found nothing. Here's what's really strange. Several months after Maria disappeared, a woman called the police, claiming that she had information about the case. She claimed that she was in a relationship with a man who was romantically involved with Maria prior to her disappearance. This man was supposedly named Joe, and according to the woman, Joe told her that he had dropped Maria off at her home around 5 p.m. on April 9th, just hours before her car was found abandoned. Joe apparently said that he received a call from Maria's daughter, who told him that her mother was missing. Strangely, though, the police report indicates that Maria's daughter did not report her missing until April, 2 days after Joe supposedly dropped her off at her home. It seems like there's a major gap in the timeline here. Why would Maria's daughter wait 2 days to report her missing? If she was in fact missing, was Maria really missing the whole time? Was she hiding out with Joe? The police were unable to find Joe to question him, so it's unclear if he was telling the truth or not. Let's talk about some possible theories in this case. I think that it's important to point out that we do and know if Maria is alive or dead. Although her car was found abandoned and her friends and family never heard from her again, her body has never been recovered. So we can't rule out the possibility that she's still alive somewhere. That being said, I do believe that foul play was involved in this case. Here's why. First of all, Maria's car was found abandoned with her purse and cell phone. This means that she didn't leave this situation voluntarily. If she had been kidnapped by a stranger, I think it's likely that they would have taken her purse with all of the money inside. But they didn't. They didn't take her phone either. So I believe that she was kidnapped by someone that she knew. This is supported by the fact that Maria had sent cryptic text messages to her family and friends, saying that someone was watching her and that she felt like they knew where she was. This means that she was definitely concerned that someone was stalking her. And if that person or persons were watching her, it would make sense that they would show up in a car and kidnap her. But what happened to her? Was she killed? If so, where is her body? If she's still alive, why hasn't she contacted anyone in over 10 years? I just can't see her going 10 years without contacting her family. I mean, even if she was hiding out in another state or something, she probably would have reached out to someone in the last decade. I want to say that this case really doesn't add up, but the timeline doesn't make any sense. People are reporting things to the police, and the police aren't doing anything about it. I mean, they can't find Joe. He's nowhere to be found, yet nobody seems to care. Like, nobody seems to be looking for him. Nobody seems to be trying to figure out where he is. That's a big part of the puzzle. Like, he claims he was the last person to see her. And he tells this story to the police, but then nobody does anything about it. And I also want to note that the police have input this man on a public database of missing person cases, so people can go in and search for this guy, Joe. If you know anything about Joe, please come forward and contact the authorities. I'll put the reward on screen that they're offering for information. I think that there's a lot that the police aren't telling us about this case. I really do. Don't think that they've done everything that they could have done. And I'm sure that if this case goes cold forever, there will be new information that surfaces, 20 years down the road. Sadly, that's how it usually goes. But hopefully that doesn't happen in this case. Hopefully they can find Maria and bring her home to her family. If you have any information about this case, please contact the authorities. Please share this episode with your friends and family. As always, stay tuned for more content.